Jūs klausotės Radio klubo.
For a lot of years, the interest for the political life in France decreased. The percentage of vote in this election is very low and a lot of people contest the political decision. So today I would like to speak about the youth and their interest for the politics in France. First, you have to know that the political situation in France is very difficult. Our president conducts the country since 2012 and only 3% of the population still believes in his decision. This observation is really alarming and is the reason why I chose to present how the youth would try to invest themselves in the French politics even if they distrust politics. First, I will speak about the last election. The percentage of the participation was very low, and however, it's really hard to refuse to interest ourselves to the politics with the global problem we have now. Nevertheless, it exists some solutions for the French youth to show their discontent. Trade union and association are the dream of a lot of youth to invest themselves into the political life. But we will say that youth wait more information from the school, the structure and the government in general. Concerning to the French political figures, I will speak about how they manage the country, why the youth are not interested by the politics. The goal here is to know how the youth live the political situation in France and how they perceive people who take the decision for them. So, how the French youth live the situation? Do they feel concerned? During an interview for a French magazine, Anne-Sophie, who is a French sociologist, said youth have a new relation with the politic. For the specialist, today the youth don't lose their interest for the politic, but distrust the politic. Indeed, youth alternates between participation and abstention. In France, to vote is a right, and they use this right to express their discontent. And today they have no fidelity for the same political party. The political figure change a lot and they have less more. There are so many problems inside the party in France that nobody can find the values they want through the figures. With the abstention, the youth wants to protest, show there is any solution in the idea that the party proposes. To illustrate the speech of Anne-Sophie, I found some percentage. According to a survey, there is 80% of youth who follow the political actuality. 75% have already voted and 28% have already manifested. These statistics are a good demonstration to show the political life in France. And according to a poll, the health, the family and the work are the three main preoccupations for the French youth. Political is really far behind, with 18% of people who are interested by this topic. People don't believe anymore in the French politics and think that the government does nothing for them. So a lot of persons prefer or are preoccupied by their daily life and how they can organize it. But it's not a really good solution, because when you refuse to vote, you allow the politicians to do what they want. A lot of youth considers that the vote is not an obligation, but in my point of view, there are so many people who fought against the regime to have the right to vote. This way to protest is not useful because it's the same that refuse our freedom. It's right that it's difficult to choose a person who represented our values. There are a lot of political figures and they are more preoccupied by how can I have the power than by how I can be useful for my population. Let's take a very recent example. After the drama of Charlie Hebdo this January 2015, and after all the political parties said they have to be united, there still is one problem. The party of the President Hollande didn't want that the extreme right, Marine Le Pen and Le Front National, came to the manifestation. Don't you think there is a problem? When you said that every French people have to be united and you exclude one party, is it a real democracy? Is it a real representation of the respect of French people and their suffering after this drama? There is one answer, no. No, because in this kind of situation, they couldn't forget their political difference. No, because in this kind of situation, they couldn't adopt a common position. And no, because in this kind of situation, they couldn't forget their career and their political image in front of the media and the world. It's really sad that we had to wait the murders of Charlie Hebdo to symbolize and represent the political situation in France. Because if you try to think by yourself, and if you try to analyze the situation without listening to the media in general, you will see that every action which were made during this week were just manipulation of public opinion. First, the catchphrase, "Je suis Charlie." This sentence came at the beginning from the population, but very quickly it became an advertisement slogan. Now it's just political. The population tries to be united and try to show their membership to a group. But it's known, be in a group and you forget to think by yourself. So now, as you can see, everybody is Charlie. But is it really the good solution to express his suffering or his opinion faced to the government? Because actually create a group is always the best way to manipulate. According to the manipulation, we shouldn't forget the working of the head of government. Is it normal to invite or to let participate presidents who don't respect the human rights and democracy in their own country? For example, the First Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, was present. When you see the current situation in the country, and after the manifestation, all the women were deleted on the picture for the Israeli newspaper, we can think it's, of course, very normal. But we shouldn't forget to mention the representatives of Africa, Palestine, Russia, Ukraine, all these places where the democracy and the human rights are not respected. The hypocrite situation symbolizes very clearly the situation we live in France. And if I come back to our problematic, the youth and politics in France, we can see it's really difficult to find a position and to have a reference point. The politic itself doesn't respect the principle of democracy and of human rights. It's not so easy to understand the politics of your country, but all is done to you don't have to understand anything. Just follow the movement. It's the most important in this case. Follow the movement to be not so different. Follow the movement to be accepted in a group. Follow the movement to be united and especially forget to think by yourself. One of the problems in French politics is the division of the population. The different decisions taken by the president divide the country because we always have to take a party, and the main question is about the racism. For example, the marriage for everyone was the start of a lot of questions, and French people were already divided because of it. But we have also the problem with the recent drama. One part follows the group and the other try to think. In this case, you are the bad person, very racist, and who don't try to integrate in the society. Another example, we have a famous humorist who proposes to the public anti-Semitic joke, or recently joke about the drama of Charlie Hebdo. And again, the debate is launched. Is it racism? Is it an attack against the freedom of expression? And now again, big problem for French people and to find the good party. And many solutions are offered to the population. Should I be considered like a racist if I like his joke? Should I say I don't like to laugh about Muslim, but I'm for the freedom of expression? Should I say I like the joke even if I like the Muslims? So many questions and so many behave to adopt to be the perfect peaceful person. We will start now our second part of the program, the youth and the association. And the main question could be, trade union and association could be a new way to call the youth to be more active in the political life. If the youth distrust politics, they still want to invest themselves in a local scale. Indeed, the trade union and the association are a new way for the youth. They want to use more their motivation and express their opinion through these kinds of organization. Actually, 8 youth on 10 wants to start this activity. Because if they don't find their values into a political party, they consider that the trade union is very important for the democracy. The principle is to know how they can join this trade union. A lot of youth ask to have more information about this, because if they don't find their values into the political party, they consider that the trade union is very important for the democracy. The principle is to know how they can join this trade union. A lot of youth asks to have more information about these structures and how they can integrate it. The youth have today different ways to express their political opinion. Indeed, they are more critical and demanding. The French youth want a concrete way to show their political engagement. But a lot of youth are expecting on the school a better learning about politics. For example, in the northern countries like Sweden, the political engagement starts when they are very young, and for the youth, it's easier to be more active in the political life in the country. The unionization in Sweden and in Denmark is nearly 68%, while in France it's just 7%. These numbers are very significant. In France, the access of such organizations is not so easy because we don't have a lot of information. Our culture is not very based on this way. Of course, there are many students who are invested in organization, but 7% is not enough. The history, the civic education, the politics are becoming topics which are really essential to learn in school. The transmission of the French values, the admiration of French figures, could be also a good way to create more enthusiasm for the politics. But many youth wait a lot from the political figures. For the moment, they are considering, for 87% of the class, 18-25 years old, like blind face to their preoccupation. Indeed, the change of our Prime Minister, who was Jean-Marc Ayrault last year, is the expression of a non-useful work in the presidential palace, l'Élysée. The political figures in France are critical for their work, or the absence of work actually, and the French population doesn't do anything to change. For example, during the manifestation against the homosexual marriage, a lot of people were arrested for homophobia. But nobody in the government tried to listen or understand the argument of the opposition. It was just a best way to have more voices for the next presidential election. But how the youth can still believe in the French politics? In a poll of 2014, published in Le Figaro, a French newspaper, according to this research, 8 French youths on 10 said they are interested by the politics. Nevertheless, there is nearly the half, 44%, who declared they don't read the newspaper to have the information. Their engagement is interpreted by the participation to petition, with 50% of the youth, and during the manifestation, 30%. Nevertheless, also that 55% of youth said they are interested by the French politics. There is only 5% of them who are engaged in a trade union, and 7% in a political party. The main topics which grow to commit them are the solidarity with others and responsible consumption. Actually, it's very difficult to access to this organization, and their information is not good. The school is basic to show to the student how to engage them in such organization and express their opinion. The problem is that the educational program focuses their interest on other topics, detrimental on more important topics. For example, 2 years ago, there was a debate in France concerning learning of history and geography in the scientific formation at the 12th degree. Very important debate, actually, because if you start to delete this kind of topic so young, it's like to approve that our history is not important and not useful for the life. And history, honestly, should be one of the most important topics, because it's the start of the reflexing for youth. It's by this way that the youth can start to think by himself and start to get more information about political life. If we erase the history of our knowledge, we are not able to think anymore. According to a poll, there are nearly 80% of the youth who are agreed for the following points: the possibility to participate to a youth council in the municipality, more opportunities to be active in an association, to have a better explanation to the political life in the school, and that the administrative approaches are easier to vote. Every points which are mentioned here are nearly completely absent of the youth life today, and it's not normal. How do you want to arouse the youth to their future and push them to work for their future if they don't have any information? This debate should be open today because, like many other topics, they were forgotten to the benefit of other not so important. The question of our program was, Youth and Politics in France, how can they invest themselves in politics when they distrust politics? I don't have a good answer, of course. This was just a resume of the political situation in France. It's your turn to have an idea about what we said in this program. To change the lack of trust in politics, it could be very useful to push our political figures to change also, in their attitude and in the opportunity they can give to the youth. And by this way, we could maybe believe more in our country and in the decision taken.
Try looking at tomorrow, not yesterday, and all the things you left behind, all those tender words you did not say, the gentle touch you couldn't find. In these days of nameless faces, there's no one truth but only pieces. My life is all I have to give. Dare to live until the very last. Dare to live, forget about the past. Dare to live, giving something of yourself to others, even when it seems there's nothing more left to give.
Ma se tu vedessi l'uomo davanti al tuo portone, che dorme avvolto in un cartone, se tu ascoltassi il mondo una mattina senza il rumore della pioggia, tu che puoi creare con la tua voce, tu pensi i pensieri della gente, poi di Dio c'è solo Dio. Vivere nessuno mai ce l'ha insegnato, vivere non si può vivere senza passato. È bello anche se non l'hai chiesto mai, una canzone ci sarà, qualcuno te la canterà. stasera. Perché non vivi ora?